Greetings, my friends, and welcome to a little bit of a different tactics video today. Today I'm going to be talking to you about building my next Blood Angels Angelic Inheritors 2000 point strike force list. And if you haven't been playing Angelic Inheritors, then what you need to be doing is, from your two Legacy of the Angels choices, you get to pick two of these every game, and they apply to all your Adeptus Astartes character units. You want to be picking Sanguinary Grace. That means you can fall back and declare a charge and shoot in any turn. Very, very useful for small squads of jump units that want to jump out of combat, shoot something else with potentially Infernal Pistols, and charge. And Carmine Wrath. Each time a model in this unit makes an attack, reroll hits and wounds of 1. This is very strong for a unit like Dante, who hits on 2s, so now he's rerolling 1s the entire game, and then against most, like elite infantry, he would wound on 3s, and now he is also rerolling 1s the entire game. Tons of additional reliability here for characters. So I'm going to talk to you about some of the auto-includes that I think is worth including if you are going to be playing Angelic Inheritors, and then from there, we'll go around and we'll build this into my next 2000 point list now that I have a bunch of games having played Angelic Inheritors and having finally won some games with Angelic Inheritors. So stick around, should be an interesting video. We did Bloodless Angels last week. If that's what you're interested in, there'll be a video link at the end. But today we're talking Inheritors. So thank you so much for being here. So let's talk about this Angelic Inheritors list, and we'll call it Auto Includes, because that's where we're going to start. And I think there are some things that I would class as Auto Includes in my Angelic Inheritors list, in terms of, like, we had Jack take Angelic Inheritors 3rd place to LVO this year. He did very, very well. A couple of niche picks in his list that maybe he has excelled at, but the generic, always good stuff is what we're going to start with, right? So I think we start most Angelic Inheritors lists with Dante. Dante is excellent for leading Sanguinary Guard. That was obvious. And we're going to also start with 2 captains with jump packs. Now, you can kind of arm these guys however you want. Jack took them to LVO with, he took them with the Hand Flamers and the Relic Weapon. I think I like the Power Fist. You get 1 less attack, but you get more strength. And then you also can take, I think, a Plasma Pistol. My experience of playing Hand Flamers is they don't do very much, but then I guess I don't play too many Tier 3 enemies. I guess if you're playing a lot of Tier 3, the Hand Flamers could come in useful. Most of the time when I'm shooting my Hand Flamers, I'm wounding on 5s and 6s. I don't think it's super impactful. So, go either way. I will be going with... So go Hand Flamer or Plasma Pistol, go Relic Weapon for 1 extra attack, or go Power Fist for 1 less attack, but 3 more points of strength. Could be meaningful. I suppose it depends on how often you're realistically going to be paying their stratagem in Angelic Inheritors, which I have right here. It is the Focused Fury, is it not? Focused Fury to give a character unit lethal hits and lance. So we're going to be using Focused Fury a lot. Then maybe the extra attack from that Relic Weapon could be useful, but I think 1 less attack with a Power Fist, it means probably I don't need to Focus Fury. Remember, the Captain does give you +1 strength when you charge, so with this combo, the Power Fist, you are on strength 9, with the Relic Weapon, you are still on strength 6. It's pretty good. I play a lot of Death Guard, and I feel like strength 9 is more useful against Death Guard, maybe, than strength 6 for 1 less attack. But again, you can go either way. So assume that you pick 2 captains, arm them however you like, and Dante. Great start. What you're going to need then, I think, is Sanguinary Guard. And we're going to want 3 squads, because they are really, really good Angelic Inheritors. And I think we want to keep them all 3-man squads. 3-man squads of Sanguinary Guard means get rid of 1 bolt pistol and get 1 Infernal Pistol and add the banner. And do that for all 3 squads. So basically, the squad will have 2 Angelus Bolt Guns, 3 of the Blades, 1 Infernal Pistol, and 1 banner. The banner gives every OC2. The Infernal Pistol is obviously just better than Angelus Bolt Pistol, which is really underwhelming these days. Used to have AP1, used to have 18-inch range, now it's got none of that. And the Infernal Pistol is fine. Got nerfed from D6 to D3 at some point, and the banner. So there you go, 3 squads of Sanguinary Guard. Apparently I have made a problem. I have not chosen a Warlord. In this list, Dante will be the Warlord. That should have been obvious if you hadn't figured that out. So that's like that. 3 squads of Sanguinary Guard, all led by a character. That is sort of my baseline, as that's 3 jump units. Now, what you can do, and what I got told by my community to do, was put one of the 3 Sanguinary Guard and the captain in reserve, and of course you can use the captain's reduced stratagem cost of 1 to rapid ingress that unit for free. So basically, wherever you need 3 Sanguinary Guard and a captain, you can bring that in for free in turn 2 or 3 using rapid ingress, and that is also a very strong maneuver, because when those guys jump in, they'll usually be able to be obscured, then they'll be able to jump forward 12 inches, and then with the captain, the Sanguinary Guard are strength 7, rerolling all 1s to hit, rerolling all 1s to wound. You can obviously give them +1 to wound. If you desperately need it, you could give them Oath of Moment. They're just very good. You're getting 12 attacks at AP3 2 damage from the 3 Sanguinary Guard. In Dante's case, you're getting another 8 attacks at AP3. In the Captain's case, I guess you're getting another 5 attacks, AP2 2 damage. But still, the 3-man unit plus the Captain, 17 hits. With Dante, it's 20 attacks. So it's a good amount of damage for such a small unit in terms of like how much space they take up in the board size. They are relatively expensive though, right? Dante +3 is like 260. The Captain's +3 is like 215, I think. So next up, at the moment, I think this will be a surprise to no one. Vindicator tanks are very good. And I have been playing a single Vindicator tank because I don't like to copy the meta or don't like to conform to it. I am now going to jump on board and go double Vindicator tank. And of course, if you're taking Vindicator tanks, you're going to want to add a Hunter Killer Missile because it is free, and you're going to want to add a Stormbolter because that is also free. Not that the Stormbolter is really ever impactful. So having played this a couple of times now, or played the single Vindicator a couple of times, I think with the new terrain layouts we are playing now in 10th edition, I typically will always reserve a Vindicator tank. Because coming in from reserve, Oath of Moment, shooting, you can do sustained for 1 CP, sustained on the Vindicator tank, especially when you shoot the Hunter Killer Missile, means a minimum, even if you roll minimum, it's still 5 shots, sustained 1, you're probably going to end up with Oath of Moment, like minimum 6 hits. I've seen myself getting like 10 hits out of the Vindicator tank quite a few times now, using Strike Now for glory, 1 CP, bring it in, Oath of Moment a target, use your sustained hit. Okay, now I think we have 2 other pretty serious auto-includes in this list, and they are characters, and this list obviously gets a lot of value out of having characters, because that's kind of what the whole detachment thing is. So we're going to take the Sanguinor. We're going to be able to drop him in, and I think he's so much better in this detachment, because his melee hits on 2s. I'm one of these people that always manages to roll 1s, so I'll reroll all of those, and then I'll wound probably on 3s, so then rerolling 1s again, potentially more dev wounds, and I guess if you're fighting anything, except maybe like Death Guard or Knights or something, he can do an awful lot of damage with his strength 6. He will let you do some other shenanigans, like obviously he's got his heroic miraculous savior ability, and you can also reroll battle shocks and leaderships within 6. He is a lone operative, so he could do actions, and he could be tricksy. It's worth noting, I suppose, that the Unto Burning Skies stratagem is pretty useful for jump pack units in this detachment. So basically any jump pack unit that is not within engagement range at the end of your opponent's fight phase, you have the potential to put that back into strategic reserve. So some people are actually doing a play where they start him on the board in turn 1, and your opponent's turn 1 you pick him up, meaning that potentially you can bring him down from strategic reserve in turn 1. So the only way you can do that is by starting him on the board and picking him up if you go second, but it is an interesting thing that you can do. Right, so we've got the Sanguinor, we've got Dante, we've got those jump units. What's next? We're going to take the lone operative, lieutenant with combi weapon. And the lieutenant with combi weapon, if I can spell combi weapon, is pretty useful in this detachment because another lone operative, There's an enhancement we can give him, which is very strong, which means the first time he dies, he is coming back with 3 wounds on a 2-up. So most of the time when he dies, he's coming back. He's lone operative, so he can just go out there and try and hold objectives. He does have a devastating wound combi weapon. Sometimes it does something. He does have a knife. Again, sometimes it does something. He does have a feel no pain. So 4 wounds, feel no pain. When he dies once, he's coming back. Lone operative. He can just hold stuff. And he can be very central. He's also got a reactive move. If the enemy move within 9 inches of him, he's going to be moving. So, he's just a pain for the enemies to deal with. He's also going to pick one objective on the battlefield. Typically, I usually pick the center, and then you're going to reroll all 1s to wound on that objective. So if they put any units on that objective, if you can shoot them with the Vindicator tanks, cool. Rerolling 1s to wound with that Strength 14 cannon with sustained. Very, very good. Very, very strong. So this is getting to a point where like most of our auto-includes are here. I am going to also add a squad of infiltrators, because I think infiltrators are just too darn good at protecting your home field objective. Most competitive Space Marine lists at the moment will run 1 unit of infiltrators, and it's no surprise. Their war gear options are pretty simple. You want the Helix Gauntlet, and I think you can these days take the comms array as well. So basically you have infiltrators. The Omni Scramblers mean no one's setting up within 12. You've got 6 up, feel no pain. And if you are targeted with a stratagem, not that you really ever do that, on a 5-up you could gain 1 CP. It really doesn't happen. But anyway, so we are at 1375 points. So this is probably getting to the end. 1 more auto-include probably, and for me, it will be a squad of scouts. Scouts are just very cheap and also very good at scoring. I like to arm them with... I like to mainly arm my scouts with the chainsword on the sergeant, a few guys with knives, because the knives got a lot better. So get rid of these close combat weapons, get rid of these bolt guns, give them 3 combat knives. I think maybe we need to keep 1 close combat weapon, and let's take 1 missile launcher. So we've got missile launcher with a combat weapon, we've got 3 combat knives with bolt pistols, we've got the sergeant with the bolt gun. I think he just loses bolt gun, that's right. To take the chainsword. So I'm missing something. Invalid loadout for the sergeant, sorry. Any number of models can have their bolt gun replaced with... No, the sergeant's bolt gun will be replaced with... Oh, so he keeps his close combat weapon. And then for the rest of the scouts, any number of can have their bolt guns replaced with knives, yet. And for every 5 models, 1 scout's bolt gun can be replaced with a missile launcher. So I guess they keep their close combat weapons as well. It's a bit weird. They've got close combat weapons and knives, but obviously you would use the knives. So this is probably, for me, baseline auto-includes. It might be quite a lot auto-includes, 1465 points, but I think if you were struggling to set up an Angelic Inheritors list, this is where I would start. Now, having played this a few times, the units that I have added was like, I've added an Impulsor with company heroes and a captain. Gives me another captain, another way to reduce CP cost. I've also added a Ball Predator to get some Overwatch threats in there. I've added Outriders, because they give like Strength 5, AP 1, 2 damage now. I've added a Predator Destructor, because I like Predator Destructors. I've added Ballistus Dreadnoughts. And the one thing that I haven't added up until now, and I wasn't sure if I was going to add them, was Jump Intercessors, because I honestly forgot that you could use Unto the Burning Skies on a unit of Jump Intercessors. So Jump Intercessor is a lot weaker in this detachment than Liberator Assault Group, right? They're only Strength 4 chainswords as opposed to Strength 6, which makes them awesome in Liberator Assault Group. But the potential to go back into reserve in this detachment could actually be crazy useful. So I think if you've got 90 points free, then a unit of Jump Intercessors could be good. I have also seen like Devastator squads in this detachment to make use of the Strike Now for Glory. And the other thing that is really good in this detachment is Instant of Grace. Sorry, no, it's not Instant of Grace. The other thing that's really good in this detachment is the Shadow of a Great Wings. So if your opponent targets one of your character units, and in this case that would be like Dante, the captain, the other captain. So basically anytime they shoot your Sangre Guard, Armor of Contempt is not really a good stratagem anymore, but if the enemy are more than 18 inches away, you can just say, right, those guys have a special version of Lone Op, and they cannot be targeted. And this is very good for performing actions. What I found is you can actually put like a unit of Sangre Guard into like not a great position, out exposed beyond terrain, standing in no man's land, and the second the opponent goes to shoot them, you can just be like, right, they're going to pay the 1 CP, you need to pick another target. The opponent's moved out to shoot them, and it's like, there is no other target for you to shoot now because my lieutenant's a lone operative and everyone else is hiding. So this is quite a good one for potentially scoring points. And I guess later in the game, you know, if you knew, for example, that like the opponent needs to kill a unit, you could basically have this as an ace up your sleeve, marked for death, something like that, where you're like, yes, you cannot now shoot my unit unless you're within 18 inches. And you could pre-measure that, right? You could be like, let me just check. Your tank shoots 18, okay. Your tank moves 10, so that's 28, so I'll just stay here, and no matter where you move, you're still not going to be in range, so you cannot shoot my unit. So this is sort of where I am in terms of like the baseline building of an Angelic Inheritors list. I think these are probably your auto-includes. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to quickly add the last 555 points, which will round out my next list for the battle report on the channel. That's what I'm trying to build at the moment. I'm trying to build a strong Angelic Inheritors list, so I kind of already have a picture of what this looks like in my head. And just so you guys can see it, I am going to be adding a Shield Dome Impulsor. So that is the Shield Dome Impulsor. I think that is a very useful unit. It can have a stubber, so take the stubber for free. A unit of Jump Intercessors. We just talked about how good they can be, especially now that you can put them back into reserve. I had been considering running like a small unit of Blade Guard, but I honestly think that maybe, like, I like having Jump Intercessors. They're cheap, they're good at trading, and I think that this is just better. So I'll give them, again, a Power Fist and a Plasma Pistol, and I guess the other guys in the squad, we can get rid of 2 heavy bolt pistols. So we've got, is it 2 or 1? Sorry, so it's 1. So you get 2 plasma pistols in the squad of 5. I've got the Impulsor. I'm going to add another captain. This will be a captain on foot. I like the captain that has the Power Fist and the Plasma Pistol. I think it's this one, not the Blood Angels captain. If you've got the Blood Angels captain, I guess that's fine. I think it's minor to have an Infernal Pistol over a Bolt Pistol. I don't think it changes too much. So I think we have to lose the Mastercrafted Bolt Gun, and I think we have to have a Power Fist and... Sorry, a Plasma Pistol and a Power Fist. I'm going to have to read this nonsense. This Bolt Pistol's Mastercrafted Bolt and Close Combat Weapon. There we go. Okay, so he takes a Plasma Pistol and Power Fist. Attached to him is my favourite unit, probably, right now. The Company Heroes. They are super durable. They don't kill too much in Angelic Inheritors, but my goodness, do they survive. -1 to wound all the time. So, here's the thing about these guys. Like, if you think about them as -1 to wound all the time, there's 4 of them. Each of them has 4 wounds. So that's 16 wounds for 95 points with a 3-up save. That alone is kind of good. 16 wounds for 95 points. If you think of like Assault Intercessors, you're getting 10 wounds for 75 points, or regular Intercessors like 80 points. So you're getting 6 more wounds for like 15 points, but then they're -1 to wound all the time. And so the way I see it is essentially 95 points, -1 to wound. If you're hitting with Strength 8, you would be wounding on 2s, right? -1 to wound makes you wound on 3s. So essentially, you are 1 point higher toughness all the way up to Strength 8. So in a pseudo way, this is kind of like T7 16 wounds for 95 points, right? Because I think if you're hitting at Strength 9, it's still 3s. If you're hitting at Strength 10, it's still 3s. If you're hitting Strength 11, it's still 3s, right? You get the point? So, like, essentially these guys are good bang for buck. Before we even talk about, like, their offensive output, which isn't amazing in this detachment at all, the one thing that they have is a 6 attack, strength 5, AP2, 2 damage, precision sword. So that combos with the captain, who can go once per game to 8 attacks, because he is a finest hour captain, right? So that's like a special thing, once per game. He gets 3 bonus attacks and dev wounds. He's got the Power Fist, so once per game he can have 8 attacks. So if you paid 1 CP, or you could do it for free because he's a captain, you don't have to pay the CP cost to do Epic Challenge, then potentially, you know, you've got like 14 AP2 2 damage hits for free precision, which kills a lot of stuff with reroll ones to hit, reroll ones to wound. So they're not a great unit in terms of damage output, but they can do damage, and they're very durable for what you're paying for them, 95 points. So they're in the Impulsor with the Captain. We added the unit of Jump Intercessors. I think at this point that makes the most sense for me is I need another vehicle. I like 2 Vindicator tanks, but I do not think 2 Vindicator tanks on their own sum are strong enough in my opinion. So the other vehicle I would probably add is either a Ballistic Dread or Predator Destructor. Now, I think you go either way on this. I've literally used both this edition. Recently, we just saw Bloodless Angels do second place in a Super Major with 3 Ballistas. I think we saw them do first place with 3 Predator Destructors. So take your pick. I think for now, I'm going to be doing a Ballistic Dread. I like it. I think it's good against orcs. I think it's got some baked-in rerolls that are also nice. So there's no options on the Ballistic Dreadnought, and it's OC4, 2-up save. So I probably take it just because it means all my vehicles have a 2-up save. Not that I want to be using Armor of Contempt all that often, but if I do need to use it, then that gives them a little bit more survivability. So then we're at 80 points, and you could go something as simple as Scouts and round it out, or you could find something else, potentially, but I have been enjoying another cheap trading unit. And for me, the cheap trading unit is Outriders. They've got decent OC, two OC each. They get +1 strength on the charge, meaning that they're actually meaningful now when charging, because they'll be doing 1 additional strength and 1 additional damage on the charge. So basically what you're looking at is on the charge, you have 12, strength 5, AP 1, 2 damage chainswords. So assuming you hit on 3s, that's 8 hits. So if you come up against like toughness 4 enemies or toughness 3 enemies, they're probably going to have to take 6 AP 1 saves. Every failed save is essentially a dead 2 wound model. So they can kill like 3 Space Marines on the charge. They maybe plink off another wound with their twin-linked bolt rifles that each one has. So maybe if you can plink off 1 wound, do 3 wounds on the charge. If you've got anything else in your army that can shoot that unit, you could potentially kill an MSU unit of Space Marines. And they do have grenades. So if in that exact situation you can plink off 1 wound, you could throw a grenade, you could charge, you can probably kill an entire 5-man unit of Marines. I don't even know if you need to kill all 5 though, because if you charge, you're OC2, so you're OC6. So assuming you kill 3.5, there's 1 guy left. They can flip stuff. Better against Eldar as well. You know, like they'll kill Aspect Warriors pretty effectively. They have the 12-inch move. They have a little bit more durability. You could argue that another unit of Jump Intercessors would be better here, but I can't fit them because that is my list. And I have played Outriders now for a while. If you were doing Bloodless Angels, and I have seen Bloodless Angels do really well recently, I've seen people run 3 units of Jump Intercessors, and I've also seen people who run 3 units of Vanguard Veterans, or 2 units of Vanguard Veterans. I actually think you could get away with 3 units of Outriders and Bloodless Angels, because you can get Advance and Charge for 1 CP on all those units. And in Bloodless Angels, they get 3 more attacks, they get 2 more strength, so they're hitting at strength 7. That makes them pretty spicy, I guess. And at any point, obviously, you could use a stratagem on them to give them like lethal hits, or +1 to wound, or that sort of stuff. So this is the list that I am playing at the moment with Angelic Inheritors. Now, I think I quite like this list. I'm not finding myself winning too many games at the moment, but I am practicing, and I like to practice a list a bunch of times. So this is what I'm practicing. I might make some small adjustments. I suppose one thing you could have done there is not have the Outriders and have a unit of Suppressors. I only played the Suppressors once. I found them hard to play, but I did see a Blood Angels player just won like the Super Major with 3 units of Suppressors, go figure. So I think there's something to be said in here. I think this is pretty decent. Obviously, it doesn't have as many unique units as Bloodless Angels, right? Like, you've got the two tanks, you've got the 3 units of Sanguinary Guard and the Scouts, that gives you 6. Outriders, Infiltrators, Company Heroes, Dreadnought, and the Assault Intercessors, that gives you 11. The Impulsor is 12. The Sanguiner and the Lone Operative Lieutenant gives you 14. So it's not too bad. 14 is a number that I've aimed to try and hit. I feel like if I'm playing with less than 14 unique units. I find it sometimes quite hard to do secondaries. I know some of the best Bloodless Angels are running 20 or 18 unique units at the moment, and it makes sense why they're scoring so high, and it makes sense why they're just so deadly with that +1 to wound. But I think Angelic Inheritors is a fun detachment. It feels a lot more Blood Angels to me than Bloodless Angels. So if you're starting and trying to build Angelic Inheritors lists and you are not being too successful, I think this is a good jumping off point. So Future John here, having just got off the live stream where we realised Company Heroes went up, the Ballistus Dreadnought went up, the 2 Vindicator tanks go up, so I am 40 points over. Now, I have had a bit of a brainwave. I'm not 100% sure on this, but I think it might be worth trying. So for now, I wanted to try and preserve the fact that I had those 14 units. So if we take out the jump assault intercessors, and if I wanted to, there isn't one other way I could potentially do this. I could remove the Outriders, right? And that would give me around 130 points. And I thought to myself at that point, I could go double Invader ATV. The ATVs could basically hang out together. They have that weird rule that if they are shot, then they can shoot back. Or if they're shot within 6, so I would just keep both of them next to each other. This would give me the same 14 units. I wouldn't have the Outriders for that early game, throw them onto the objective and hope they survive. But I would have an ATV that basically does the same thing. And then rather than a unit of jump intercessors, I would have another ATV. I'm not 100% sold on that, and I don't own any Invader ATVs, but they are mounted, right? Mounted, keywords. So once per turn, your shooting phase, when another mounted unit within 6 is shot, it can shoot back. So it would be a cool way to basically return fire with a multi-melta. I don't know if this is valuable. It would be 16 wounds at T5 if you think of them as one unit. So I think that could be interesting. But I think what we'll do is we'll do what the stream from Wednesday night said, and the Wednesday night stream said that people were very much enjoying, or 90% of the stream thought that Blade Guard were going to be pretty strong. So I'm going to keep my unit of Outriders. I do like them in the early game. I think they're a good unit that are fast. Strength 5 now on the charge, 2 damage a swing. They're very useful in the early game for killing some chaff and moving out fast onto an objective and having some survivability. So what we will do is, reluctant as I am, I will get rid of the Company Heroes. I'm very reluctant to drop them ever since I won the GT with them, and if you do watch the channel, you'll know that every time I mention that I won a GT, you have to take a shot. Jägermeister would be my preferred shot, so get that out, get the Jägermeister shot. So we will remove the Company Heroes. I'm loath to do it because I like them very, very much, but in the interim, we're going to add some Blade Guard. They're down to 80 points now for 3, and we're going to add 2 squads of 3, which is maybe not what you might see, but I think 2 squads of 3. You could put the Volkite pistol in each squad. Honestly, the Volkite pistol, when I've been using it, is massively underwhelming. I might just take a plasma pistol, but unfortunately I got my guys modelled with a Volkite pistol, so I guess I'll give up one of these heavy bolt pistols for a Volkite pistol. It seems it's like one shot and you never roll a 6, so you never end up doing mortal wounds. So I would say a plasma pistol would be fine, and either way, we add the 2 squads of Blade Guard, and we will lead one of the squads. And I think what we'll lead one of the squads with is a tasty Fight First Judiciar. And that will squeeze back in at 1995 points. I don't think there is any weapon options for the Judiciar, no, just his Relic Blade. And then probably because of the increased capacity on the Impulsor now of 7, then I'll actually be able to start wherever the hell that says that here, 7, I'll be able to start the 2 3-man squads, one of which is attached to the Judiciar, inside the Impulsor. And the reason I want to try this is, like I said on the stream, the 3-man squads of Sangre Guard, led by a character for reroll hits of 1 and reroll wounds of 1, is very, very strong. The Judiciar is going to benefit a lot from that as well, because he does hit on 2s with a sword, so he'll be rerolling 1s to hit, and he's got dev wounds, and he's got precision, which gives you similar sort of levels of precision that you can maybe get from the champion in the company heroes. Remember, this guy does get stronger every time he kills something. Every time he kills a character, he gets to add 1 extra attack, and he has Fight First. We know Fight First is very, very meaningful, especially with Heroic Intervention. And we could, if we don't like it, we could do the 6-man squad of Bladeguard with that Judasar. But I think probably I'm going to try 2 squads of 3, because I think small squads get the most out of Angelic Inheritors. So that's where we're going to end up right now. 1995 points. I mentioned right in the when it jumps back to the past video that I recorded the night before the Balance Slate, if you did want to see that list, I did play it on the channel last week against Demons. I will play this list on the Wednesday coming up. I don't know my opponent yet, but I will play this list. This will be the next game on the channel, so you will be watching this on Friday. Hopefully I'll be playing this the following Wednesday. So if that's something you're interested in, please like, subscribe, comment, all that stuff, and be back 7 PM on Wednesday night when we play the list live. I'm keen to continue to improve my Angelic Inheritors list and try and figure something out. I don't think the nerfs to the tanks, the 2 10-point increases of the Vindicators, are meaningful enough to drop them. I also don't think the 10-point increase to the Ballistus Dreadnought and or the Company Heroes, like I think at 10 points more, Company Heroes are still good. I just have to try and wiggle things, and unfortunately they couldn't make the cut. So thanks so much for watching. I'll catch you very, very soon. We'll jump back to the stuff I filmed the night before the Balance Slate to end the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Good night, peace, bye-bye. If you want to see this list in action, you can check it out on this battle report where we played up against the Chaos Demons. If you enjoyed the video, please like the video, consider supporting on Patreon, or if you are going to buy some Warhammer models, if you use Element Games in the UK or Wargame Portal in the US, you will get a discount and you will support the channel. Thanks so much for watching. I hope this has been a useful video. I will catch you on the live streams, my friends. By the blood are we made strong. Peace.